Well, hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Media Network Plus, the video version from PCJ Radio International. Now, in a few moments, we're going to be reviewing a receiver, the one that you see behind me right now. But before we do, I want to do a bit of an update on a story that we covered in the last edition. And as you heard, if you saw it, we had Victor Gunatelaka, our good friend all the way in Colombo, Sri Lanka, joining us. And we were talking about the jamming that's occurring against English broadcasts from the Voice of America, BBC World Service, and Radio Australia, which is very odd because usually they only jam broadcasts in Chinese, Tibetan, Uyghur, etc. But this week, on March the 6th, the Association of International Broadcasting put out a press release. And I'll read just a little bit. It says, the Association for International Broadcasting, AIB, today condemned attempts that are being made to interfere with the broadcast of international broadcasters on shortwave in the Asia region. English language broadcasts from the BBC World Service, Radio Australia, the Voice of America, beamed towards China are being deliberately interfered with by jamming on a number of frequencies. Such jamming makes it difficult, or sometimes impossible, to listen to these broadcasts that include news, current affairs, science, and entertainment. And it goes on and on and on. And then at the end it says, AIB is lodging protests with the Chinese Foreign Ministry and its missions in Canberra, Australia, London in the United Kingdom, and in Washington, D.C. in the United States. Now, to hear the full version of this press statement, including an interview with Simon Spanwick, who is the chief executive of AIB, go to the website www.pcjmedia.com/Media Network Plus and listen to the Media Network Plus show for March the 9th, and you'll hear it at the beginning of the program. All right, so do go and check it out. Now time for a receiver review. This is a receiver that I bought last year in the United States when I was attending the SWL Fest in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Now, I didn't buy it in Plymouth Meeting, even though I could have because there was a store just across the street from the hotel, but I actually bought it when I was in New York because I spent about a week in New York. And how it happened was I was walking near Central Station, walked by a well-known electronics chain in the United States known as Radio Shack that was at one time well known for selling world band receivers. And I saw that it was on sale. So I thought, well, what the hell? Might as well, good price, right? Well, here it is. It is a Grundig field radio S450DXL. And first thing that strikes you is that it's rather heavy. This is not the kind of radio that you'd want to take on holiday anywhere. Now, the regular price for this radio was $99, but it was on sale for $89, so I thought, what the hell, you know? And it looks nice, doesn't it? Looks nice, and it's quite solid. And there are some things that I do like about the radio. Unfortunately, there's many more things that I don't like about the radio. Before we get to that, let's now take a closer look at it. And that was a closer look at this radio, the Grundig field radio, as it's called, the S450DXL. Now, as I said, there's some things about the radio that I like, and I'll get to those first and get the good stuff out of the way. I like this part here, the speaker. A lot of people have complained that a lot of them say more portable radios, even though this is called a portable, but it's kind of heavy. The problem is that the sound sounds kind of very, very thin. This one has a very nice, pretty big, decent speaker. So if you're listening to FM or medium wave, it sounds excellent. It really does. It seems pretty well built. There's a decent size whip antenna. Now let's move on to things that I don't like about the radio. Well, first of all, tuning it. You can't punch in the frequency. You have to use this dial. You have two settings, slow or fast. And it still takes a long time. I don't know why. I really don't know why they just didn't put a keypad here instead of things that I think are really not necessary, like up and down, present, memory set. They could have put that on the top, right? But no, they didn't. So they put things which I don't think are useful. The display is nice. It's a good size display. But what I don't like about it is the display is slightly off. So, for example, if you're on a frequency like 5875, you're really on 7, you're like 1 kilohertz off. And I figured that out when one night I was tuning to Radio Australia on 9475 kilohertz. So I put it on that frequency and I was like, something doesn't sound right. And went to another radio and it was coming out fine. And then this one here, I put it off to 9474 and then it was okay. So I think that's a bit of an issue. And I've heard from other people that they've also had the same issue. The other problem is when it's extremely cold, the radio doesn't perform well. The display is absolutely terrible. And when it's too hot, the display is also terrible. What else don't I like about it? Well, the thing that shocks me the most. Now, as you're probably aware, Grundig as a company is actually still around, but they don't make shortwave radios anymore. The Grundig now for shortwave receivers and other types of radios is owned by the Eaton Corporation in the United States. Now, a lot of the Eaton radios are in fact Texan radios. They just put their name on it. This radio is not made by Texan. It's made by a company called Red Sun. And when I was last in China, I found the Red Sun version of this radio, which I don't know why, but the Red Sun version is actually better than the one with the Grundig name on it, sold by Eaton. The radio's reception is, it's okay. It's okay if you're listening to a very strong signal. So stations, let's say like where I am, Radio Japan, Radio Australia, Voice of America, BBC World Service, are okay. But if you get into stations like All India Radio, Voice of Russia, the radio performs really badly. That's using the whip antenna. Now you can use an external antenna, but then you run into another problem. The radio overloads constantly. Even if you're using an external antenna on a powerful station and lower the RF gain, the radio continues to overload. Now, I've already programmed one station into the radio before we recorded this. So let me get to it right now. I'll turn it on. The station I tuned to is Radio Australia on 21725 kilohertz. Now, I'm using an active antenna, so at least I can control the gain a little bit more. So let me turn the volume up.
Coming in 14th. So, look, two teams that got really a lot to play for in their opening game, especially for their fans to be excited about the season. Both teams, though, have new coaches. So,
now, what you're hearing, even though it's my wireless mic picking it up, doesn't sound too good. Now, this station, Radio Australia on 21725, should be coming in a lot clearer. Now, I have signal strength of a 4.5, but it's picking up so much noise. It's just incredible. So, recently somebody asked me, because after they found out that I had it, would I suggest they go out and buy it? Honestly, I think you can spend the $89 on a much better receiver. or just spend another like $30 or $40 and get a PL 660, or spend $100 more and get an ATS 909X from Sangen. For $89, no. I have a Texan radio, which is a D911. Costs $9. $9. And for shortwave reception is much better than this. It also has wide and narrow. And wide and narrow on this radio doesn't make any difference. I think they just put the W in the end there for cosmetic purposes. It makes no difference whatsoever. So, my final thoughts on this huge radio. And it is heavy. And when you put D-cell batteries inside, it's probably around 2.5, 3 kilograms. So final thoughts on the Grundig Field Radio, the S45DLX. On a scale from 1 to 10, how it looks, a 9. Performance, and this is the lowest performance that I've given any radio. For shortwave, 2 or 3. For FM or medium wave, 6 and 7. So keep away from it. Anyway, we are now out of time. If you want to find out more about the video reviews that we've done for Media Network Plus, check out the radio show by going to www.pcjmedia.com and click on Media Network Plus, or on the front page, you'll see an area that says Video Receiver Reviews. Click on that and you'll get the whole archive of the past ones. So until next time, friends, this is Keith Perron in Taipei, Taiwan, saying 73s to you all and 88 to the ladies.